Hey guys, I'm at home and I just thought some people had asked for me to record some notes, so I thought maybe I would give it a try. This is my first time to use this, so we'll see how it goes. I really miss you guys a lot. As you can see, I haven't been doing my makeup or my hair probably since all of this started, so it's been kind of nice to relax, but I really do miss y'all. So, but I'm going to do some body system notes and hopefully it'll help you a little bit since you kind of are having to learn all on your own. I really do miss you. I'm getting big, so you can see all my little baby sonograms back here in the back. But I really do miss y'all, and I kind of hope we want to go back to school in May just so I can see y'all before summer. But all right, let's get going. So we're going to start with the notes that we gave you online or in the packet, depending on which way you went. But we're going to start with the body systems. We started with the ones that y'all probably know pretty well: skeletal, muscular, cardiovascular, nervous. You have learned these before in probably seventh grade and maybe before then in sixth grade or fifth grade. But some of these are a little bit hard, so I thought I'd go over them real quick. So the first one is the skeletal system. And the skeletal system, of course, is your bones. It's what you would see a skeleton as. So it's going to include your joints and your marrow, your bone marrow. Which is inside of your bones, and that's actually where your white blood cells are made, which is kind of cool. But they are going to obviously protect my vital organs like my brain, or right here in my chest, my heart, or even my ribs, my lungs. So they definitely protect some of those big organs that we don't want to hurt. And then again, your bone marrow is going to produce your red and white blood cells, which is very important. So not only does it protect, and does it produce white and red blood cells, but it is really important because it helps you move. So if you don't have bones, then your muscles don't have anything to connect to, and then you can't move. So your muscles and your bones are going to work together to help you move. So the muscles contract and pull the bone up. So it helps with movement. But so in your notes, most of you probably just copied and pasted, which is fine. And so you have bones, joints, and marrows, and then over here, they're going to protect, obviously, your big organs. And it's also going to produce your blood cells, red and white. But it also helps with movement, which is really actually kind of important. And so when we talk about muscular system, we'll come back to this. Obviously, Miss Elise can't type, so sorry. But we will come back to that in a second. I did have another PowerPoint. I kind of wanted to just show you some more pictures. You don't have to add it to your notes or anything. But again, your skeleton, you've seen them in like scary Halloween movies, but when your skin and stuff decomposes, your bones are what's left. So obviously your teeth are left. Your nose is missing because your nose and your ears are made of cartilage, so they're not actually bone, kind of like what a shark's made out of. This is what a shark's made out of. The only thing that's not made out of bone on a shark, that's made out of bone on a shark, is his teeth and his jaw. But everything else is cartilage, so that actually does decay with you whenever you decay and just leaves your bones behind. But skeletal system stores minerals, and at birth you actually have more bones, which is kind of interesting. So when your baby is born, you have 300 bones. When you're older, you'll have 206 bones. So let's think about that for a second. Where did 94 bones go? Do you go to the doctor and he removes the bones? It'd be kind of weird, right? Not everybody goes to the doctor and he says, let's take out those 94 bones. So if you think about it, when a baby's born, the reason it has more bones is because they fall, they come out of the birth canal, you're changing their diapers and you're moving them around a lot. And so having more bones kind of makes them more flexible when they come out of the birth canal. But as you get older, your bones start to fuse together. So this is why a baby has like a soft spot in their head. You've heard of a baby having a soft spot because those bones haven't fused together yet. So there's actually like little holes between the bones and the skull. And then as you grow, those bones start to fuse together because you're not having to go through a tight space like a birth canal. And so that actually makes one bone, the skull. And so you lose bones because they're fusing together between being born and adulthood. So kind of neat. This is what a bone cell looks like underneath a microscope. And I think it does look really neat. Now, the reason I'm going to show you cells is just because I want you to understand every cell looks different. Okay. And so why do cells look different? Well, even though they all have 100% of the same DNA inside them, and we use gene expression to control what genes are being actually regulated. We regulate the genes, so which genes are being expressed and which ones are being repressed. Remember, expressed and repressed. So the reason they all have different shapes is shape equals function. So a bone cell's shape is going to give you the bone cell's function. So in the middle of the bone cell, you're going to have like that bone marrow, which is what produces the blood cells. And then it almost looks like the rings on a tree, but those are to make it strong so that it can be bones. Okay, so remember, structure equals function. So the structure of a bone cell is going to give you its function, which is to protect, support your body, and help you move. So, all right, so that's it for the skeletal system. That one's easy. I figured most of you probably know that. We're going to go to the muscular system. Now, the muscular system is obviously your muscles. Now, that's pretty self-explanatory. So we're going to go back to this one that y'all got. And you can see the pictures of all the different muscles. You know, if you take A&P, you have to memorize those. So that'll be neat. I had to memorize them in college. Don't ask me because I can't remember very many of them. I just remember gluteus maximus. So if you don't know what that one is, look it up. All right, so your major parts are going to be your skeletal muscle. All right, so let's think about that. It's not your skeleton. It's the muscle that's going to actually attach to the skeleton. So that's the muscle I was talking about a second ago that's actually going to help you move. Okay, all right, then you're going to have smooth muscle, which is just a different type of muscle. And all of these are going to be shaped different because they all have different functions. So remember, structure equals function. So the smooth muscle is actually the muscle that makes up your organs, like your small intestines and your large intestines and your stomach. And so that's what that muscle does. And then the cardiac muscle, I think most of you probably know cardiac, you know, if you go to a cardiologist, that has to do with your heart. So your cardiac muscle is the one that primarily makes up your heart. And so it obviously has a different function than the other muscles in your body. All right, so what is the responsibility of the muscular system? Well, the big one is to move. And so this is, you know, it's going to work with the skeleton to help you move like this, or your cardiac muscle actually moves without bone, but it's going to be the one that contracts, okay, to pump your blood. And then your smooth muscle also works without bone because that's like your intestines, and it's got to like move the food through your intestines, okay? So that again would be another example of muscle. So it does help with movement, but different types of movement, not just the movement of your fingers, okay, or my jaw right now as I ramble on. All right, so I just kind of wanted to show you some cool different movements, but the first one is you have voluntary muscles, and those are going to be the muscles you choose to move, like these and these, but you also have involuntary movement, and so that's going to be like your heart. Your heart's moving on its own. You're not having to sit there and think about pump, pump, pump. Oh goodness, I wouldn't get anything done if I had to actually think about pumping my heart, so it's involuntary. And then here are a picture of your face, which I think this one's really cool because if you think about your face, you just saw the bones underneath your face. Well, on top of those bones are all of these muscles, and look at how many different muscles are in your face. You actually have muscles that go around your eyes, like kind of in a circular motion. And then you have muscles that kind of go around your lips like this, almost like you have a mustache, a very nice mustache, okay? And so all these different muscles, and again, the ones in your forehead that help you do this, okay? And in A&P, you get to learn all those muscles, so That's fun. All right, so pictures of each of the cells. So again, they're all going to look different, very different. Even though they're all muscles, they look different. So skeletal muscle looks a lot different than smooth muscle. And remember, structure equals function. So the reason their structure looks so different is because their function is so different. Obviously, Maddie's in the back getting something to drink. She couldn't wait. All right, so and then your last muscle is your cardiac muscle, and that's going to be the heart muscle. So obviously it does look different than the other ones because it has a different function. All right, so moving on, and that was your muscular. All right, if you can't tell, body systems are really interesting, so kind of get into them. All right, so this one is your cardiovascular system, also known as, which is what I like to call it more, your circulatory system, okay? And that's actually how I remember it. Cardio is like your heart, you know, if you do cardio and you're working out, you're pumping that heart, okay? But circulatory system, I always just remind the kids, think of what circles your body. What is circling your body all the time? It's constantly pumping and circling through the body. So circulatory system is what circles the body, and obviously that's going to be your blood, okay? And what pumps the blood? Your heart. And what does the blood, you know, go through? Well, that's going to be vessels, veins, arteries, okay? So those are all big parts of the cardiovascular system. And its job is to pump blood. Now, let's talk about this for just a second. Why do you have blood? Now, everybody knows that you would die if you lost all your blood. Like if, you know, something happened, you got into a car accident. We don't want that to happen, but and your blood started coming out and you were losing large amounts of blood. Why would you pass away? Okay. Well, everybody knows that happens, but why? What is so important about the blood? It doesn't just keep your body inflated, like if it's all gone, you're going to shrivel up like a prune, okay? Your blood is pumping through your body because it's actually carrying things, okay? It is like the pizza delivery man. When you're stuck at home right now and you can't go anywhere and you're in quarantine and you can't leave the house to go get food, you have the food come to you and be delivered to you. And so the same thing, I don't want my brain cells leaving my skull to go down and say, well, I need some food for mitochondria so that I can do cellular respiration and need glucose to make ATP. Okay, we don't want the brain leaving. So instead, what's going to happen is the heart is going to pick up the oxygen at the lungs, which is one thing your mitochondria needs, and pick up glucose at your small intestines. And then it's going to carry it to the brain and say, here you go, brain. Here is the oxygen and glucose that you need to make ATP. And if you don't make ATP, you die. So these two things are very important. So if I'm losing blood, then I'm losing those pizza delivery guys. Then all these cells start to die. And when your cells start to die, your organs die, and then you die, okay? And so that's why blood is so important. He's your delivery guy, and that's why he circles your body, because he delivers it from your head to the tip of your fingers, all the way to the cells down in your toes. So he is very important. So he is going to transport nutrients like oxygen would be a very important nutrient, and glucose, which is what we eat in our food. So those are the nutrients. And then not only does he bring your cells nutrients, okay, but he's going to pick up their waste. So remember that the cells, they make ATP, but they also make some byproducts. They make CO2 and water. Okay, and so he's going to get rid of those wastes. So the blood is going to say, here's your food. Oh, by the way, I'll take your trash too. I'm very efficient. So I'll pick up your trash and I'll carry it to where it needs to go in the body. So maybe your water needs to go to your kidneys to be filtered, or maybe your carbon dioxide needs to go back to your lungs so that you can breathe it out. Okay, so those things are what the blood does. So it transports nutrients to the cells, but it also takes waste from the cells. Okay.